Hi, I'm Judy Litt, and today I have a restorative yoga practice for you that's approximately 60 minutes long. And the name is exactly what it sounds like, to restore you, to let go. You will need quite a few props, as restorative yoga does use many props. I will suggest 2 blocks, 3 blankets and or towels, a bolster if you have it, a couch cushion if you don't, and actually we will need a strap as well. And I also want to tell you to take your time between poses in your transitions. Don't rush through them. When people rush through the transitions, that's generally where they get hurt. So we are going to start out kneeling on our mat, one yoga block at its highest height, and the other yoga block maybe at the medium height, maybe at its lowest height. Cork blocks are nice because they're very stable. We're just going to take, move stuff out of the way. We're going to take our hands in front of those blocks. We're going to curl the toes under and then just come briefly into down dog and walk our feet forward into forward fold. So the way I have my blocks set up work great for my body. You need to work with your body. Knees should be a little bent. The forehead is coming onto the top block. The intention for this practice is to help you set aside your day and have a great night's sleep. Now, this also makes a really nice post-run stretch when you have the time for it. And that is actually how I am practicing it today. I ran earlier. And we are going to be doing some relatively long holds. Don't let that scare you. And I want you to think about Yama Satya, which means truth. And one way to look at this is, what sort of stories are you telling yourself? This is a subject I will dive deeper into at some point in the future. And I actually have another practice I've been working on that will deal with it. But because these holds are longer and a lot of people have great difficulty just being still for long periods of time, I just want you to think about, what are you telling yourself while you're in these poses? And is it the truth? Go ahead and press into your palms, removing your forehead from the block. Come down into an easy seat or sitting back on your glutes, on your heels, and just taking a moment to pause and notice, did anything change for you? Oh, in this practice, where did you feel the sensations? Go ahead and set the blocks off to one side. We will not need them for our next pose unless you don't have a couch pillow or a bolster, in which case you can take the blocks, place them like this or further apart, well, really like that, and you can put a blanket on top of them and it will be something to lay back on. For our next pose, we are going to need 3 blankets. I believe it's 3 blankets. Two blankets will be long folds, and we will roll them up from here or fold them in half lengthwise one more time. Your bolster will go about in the upper 2/3 of your mat. And once you get into the pose, you'll need to readjust. It's really hard to tell exactly where to put everything until you get into the pose. So we have our rolled up blanket on one side, and we're going to do a rolled up blanket on the other side. And they're coming down because eventually they will be supporting both your arms and your legs. And take the other blanket, folded more into a square, and put it up on the top of your block bolster. And feel free to turn it the other way and maybe roll it a little bit to support your neck. All depends on what feels good to you, and you will find out what that is when you get into the pose. We're going to be here for a fair amount of time. And laying down on that bolster, and take the soles of your feet together. Let your knees fall out to either side. And that's where the blankets come in to support those knees. And hands can be face up or face down on the rolled up blankets. And we are going to be here for roughly 10 minutes. And one of my other intentions for you for this practice is to go inside, to go inward, to not be afraid of going inward. Go ahead and let your jaw soften. Let your shoulders relax and melt down your back. Notice anywhere in your body that you're holding tension. See if you can make any adjustments so that you can soften. And once you have, come into stillness. I'll also mention here that maybe a rolled up towel or an eye pillow over your eyes can feel really nice for restorative yoga and can also help us to go further inward. Dimming the lights. I obviously need to keep the lights on so you guys can see me. And can you soften maybe 10% more energetically without actually moving? And slowly reach down for your knees, bringing your knees together, rolling over towards one side, slowly propping yourself up. We are going to need at least 2 blankets for the next pose. And once again, also that bolster. And again, transition slowly. Take your time. Find out what feels right in your body. Take the bolster about the top or bottom 2/3 of your mat, depending on how you're looking at it. We're going to be coming belly down onto the bolster this time. I actually like a pillow to support my head as well. And that's going to be just a little bit away from your bolster. You can also, if it feels good to you, you can take your rectangular folded blanket and use that. And then you can take one of these rolled up lengthwise blankets and put that underneath your ankles. I am going to grab this less wide pillow. This is a set from Brentwood and I really like it. You notice I use it in a lot of videos. I'll try and link that up. So our knees are going to come towards the end of the bolster, and probably will need to adjust whatever is going underneath your ankles. And we're coming belly down on the bolster, moving up a little further. And so the head is off the bolster and coming down to your blanket or your pillow on your forehead. And the arms are just hugging your pillow or your blanket. And they're on either side of the pillow or the blanket. And we're here for about 5 minutes. And this is a nice pose for digestion. Again, can you soften maybe 10% more without actually moving around? In the last couple of minutes we are holding this pose. And go ahead and take your hands underneath your shoulders. Gently begin to press into your mat. Go ahead and remove whatever you have behind your ankles. And maybe just sit with that for a second. See if anything's come up for you emotionally, physically. Notice if you are feeling more relaxed. I hope you are. We're almost halfway through our practice, not quite. For our next pose, the bolster will go horizontally, roughly in the middle of your mat, maybe a little bit towards the bottom of your mat. And you will need one blanket. I'm going to move this pillow off. I do not need it. One blanket. I am actually going to use this pillow again, but if you don't have a smaller pillow like this, and I know most people don't, just go ahead and grab one of your square blankets and put it about where your head's going to go. And you can also put it this way. You can open up a little bit more and you can roll it a little bit so that it will get behind your neck. And again, move slowly through your transitions. I have a feeling this will need to be. Go ahead and come and sit on top of your bolster. And slowly begin to take your hands behind you. It's wrong about where I need that to be. Come on down to your forearms. Soles of the feet are on the mat. Knees are pointing towards the ceiling. And have a little support behind your head and neck. Always grab those lengthwise rolled up blankets if you'd like and put them underneath your arms. It's your choice. In supported bridge, we will be here for about 10 minutes. And as I said in the beginning, this is a great practice to help you sleep better. And it is also a great post-run stretch when you have more time. And it is very, at least I find it very, very relaxing. Everybody's experience is different. Come back to Satya, your truth. And listen to whatever stories you're telling yourself and see whether or not they're really true for you. And go ahead and lift your hips up and over to the edge of your bolster, and then roll over onto your side, which may or may not be comfortable. Go ahead and slide off that bolster. Remember, we're trying to move slowly and carefully through our transitions so that we don't get hurt. You can go ahead and put your bolster off to one side. We will come back to that. You are going to need a couple of blankets for our next pose. And they are going to need to be more in a rectangular fashion. I'm going to take one fairly wide. And I'm putting it on between the wall and my mat. Doesn't quite come to the edge of my mat. And then I'm going to take a second one. Move the blocks. You are going to need to grab your strap as well. Second one to basically come and meet that. We're trying to get some support underneath our body and underneath our head once again. And this time I am going to use this blanket. I actually like this little pillow for this particular pose, but I'm going to show you what this will look like. So rolling up the edge of the blanket into a little support for my neck. Come on top of your blanket, grab the strap. You may or may not have guessed that we're coming into legs on the wall. If you did guess that, you are completely right. And we're going to be here for roughly 10 minutes. So get your hips all the way next to the wall. Come on down to your forearms and then just swing your legs up the wall, having that strap nearby. Trying to make sure that your glutes are as close to the wall as you can get. And then taking, if you have a yoga strap, go ahead and use that. I have a knotted exercise band, which works just fine. Put one foot in it and the other. And then let that come down to about calf height. And this needs to come a little closer. There we go. So that rolled up portion of the second blanket goes underneath your neck to support your neck. The strap is around your legs to allow your legs to relax into something. Arms are down by your legs, a little bit away from your body. I like to have my palms up. If you like to have your palms down, that's perfectly fine. And we are going to be here for about 10 minutes. So as you can see, we have worked on relaxing our hips. We have worked on relaxing the upper back while giving our abs just a little bit of a stomach massage as we laid on our belly. And now we are trying to bring some energy back into tired legs. And legs up the wall is both an energizing and calming pose at the same time. It is a very accessible inversion, generally where our head is below our heart. And you'll notice that I'm wearing socks, I'm wearing a heavier top. The longer holds of restorative yoga tend to drop our body temperature. and we are not using our feet very much in general. So it's really good to make sure that you are warm enough. And of course, we did release our hamstrings and our low back in our very first pose. Slowly begin to take your feet to the wall and take the strap off of your legs Go ahead and set that off to the side. You will not need a strap again. And very slowly let your legs fall over. Begin to prop yourself back up. We are moving into our final pose, Savasana. And we are going to be there for roughly 10 minutes also. You are going to need that same blanket, square blanket with the roll at the head of your mat for the same reason, to put your head on it and to protect the curve of your neck. And we're going to need another blanket. Also about, not quite square, more rectangular. And go ahead and put that at the bottom of your mat. And then we're going to grab our bolster one last time. The bolster is going to go underneath your knees. Your feet are going to go on the blanket at the bottom. So, of course, as always, slowly get into the pose. I'm bringing that a little closer, and this has to go. Actually, that's about right. And much like our legs up the wall, our arms are a little bit away from our body by our legs. Again, palms up or palms down, your choice. Palms up are a sign of receptivity, that you're ready to receive something. Palms down is very grounding. This entire practice is a very grounding practice. Anytime we are spending a lot of time on our back, being supported by our mat, it's very grounding. And to help you go a little further inward, I'd like us to do a few rounds of a 3-part yogi breath. Begin by taking the palms of your hands to your belly. As you take a deep breath in through your through your nose, feel that belly rise. Continue breathing in and out through your nose, feeling the belly raise and lower without trying to push it or move your hands. They will just naturally move with the movement of your body and your breath. Relax your jaw. Relax any tension you're feeling in your face. Now I'd like you to take your hands to your ribs, right about at the end of your rib cage. The fingers are in front of your body, thumbs are at the back. And this time, as you breathe in and out deeply through your nose, see if you just feel the ribs moving apart from each other as you inhale, and then coming back together as you exhale. Once more, go ahead and bring your hands to your chest. Fingers are on the collarbones. And this time we're inhaling deeply into the chest and noticing how our hands move with the movement of our chest. And then let your hands come back down towards your side. And now see if you can put that all together. Breathing in through your belly, on the sides of your ribs, and finally your chest. In and out through the nose. Starting at the belly, moving on to the ribs, up into your chest, exhaling into your chest, your ribs, your belly. Now just let that go and let your breath be nice and deep. Begin to allow your breath to deepen a little bit. Keeping your eyes closed if they were closed. And to bring some movement into your fingers and toes. Making circles with your ankles and your wrists in one direction. And then the other. Stretching your arms up overhead. And your feet away from your arms. Maybe wiggling your hips a little bit to get any stiffness out of them. And bend one knee into the chest. And the other. And give yourself a little squeeze coming up. And take your feet to that bolster, and again move your hips over to the side. And let your legs fall down onto your mat. Your bottom arm is cradling your head. Take a few deep breaths here. Eyes are still closed if they were closed. Just transitioning very slowly from our deep relaxation. Take that top hand to the mat, about chest level. Slowly pushing into it. Pushing yourself upright into an easy seated position for you. Hands can be on the knees or the thighs. Taking a moment here to just digest this practice. Maybe literally. If your stomach is grumbling, that is actually a great sign that you've moved from fight and flight to rest and digest, or tend and befriend. Notice how you feel in this moment and compare it without judgment to how you felt when you began this practice. Just noticing any differences, perhaps any emotions that came up for you. If nothing did, that's also completely normal. Noticing any satya, any truth that came up for you during this practice. Are there stories that you tell yourself about your yoga practice that really are not serving you? Perhaps they're holding you back. Perhaps there are stories about how you don't have time to take an hour out of your day and practice yoga. I'd like you to notice how you feel if you stayed with me to the very end, and I hope that you have. And then compare that how you feel when you scroll social media. And perhaps if there's less social media, perhaps you would have that time for a longer practice. Go ahead and bring the palms of your hands together at heart center, rubbing your hands together, and then bringing the heels of your hands over your eyes, letting your fingers curl around the top of your head. and slowly letting your hands come down your face. Chin is slightly dipped. Blinking your eyes a few times and raising your head. Maybe thanking yourself for taking this time to practice with me today. I hope that you feel completely relaxed, very grounded, and ready for a great night's sleep. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you like this video, please click the like button. And remember, every day, go inside for the calm, the peace, and the happiness that is always waiting for you there.